welcome back. What's going on, Pokemon Go trainer? So guys, today's video is going to be both informative and descriptive, so guys, be sure to watch this video till the last so you never miss an update regarding Pokemon Go. So guys, without any further ado, let's get started. So guys, here is an update on my second screen. So guys, today Niantic has made an official announcement regarding the future use of the Niantic Wayfarer system to review Pokestop and gyms. So as per this official announcement, trainers who are below level 40 can now be able to review Pokestops in their nearby areas by the usage of the Niantic Wayfarer system, which will allow trainers to review Pokestops and gyms. Previously it was available to Ingress player only, but is now available to level 39 players and level 10 Ingress player too. So guys, if you haven't reached level 40 yet, it's okay, and if you are stuck at the level 39, so as per this official announcement, starting from today in different countries, Niantic has bring an official update regarding the future use of Niantic Wayfarer system by the lower level players in Pokemon Go. So guys, if you are level 39 player, don't worry, because starting from today you are able to review Pokestop in any areas by just passing the Niantic Wayfarer test. So in today's video I will show you how to fairly pass Niantic Wayfarer test and grab a chance to review Pokestops which are made by you and your friends in your areas, so that they can be accepted as a Pokestop and a gym in your nearby areas. So without wasting any further time, let's get into the video.
Question. We got asked, should Fieldhouse Shrine be a way spot? And we got 5 different options. Now the first thing I want to point out right now is that the picture is actually kind of bad. It doesn't even focus on the statue itself or the shrine itself. So right away that's kind of like, yeah, that's not really like a good submission right there, just based on the photo alone. And additionally, I mean, if you look at the location that they put it at, you can tell it's on their house. So obviously this is a 1-star rating right here. But you gotta take a look at the options, guys. Now for those of you guys who have taken multiple choice exams or quizzes before, this basically works in the same way. And what I mean by that is that whenever you take those kinds of exams, you have 4 or 5 options, right? Now, one of those options is going to be the best possible option. It doesn't mean that, you know, the other 3 or the other 4 are going to necessarily be bad. It just means that one option out of the options that you were given are going to be the best possible option. So let's go ahead and walk this through right now, and I'll explain what that kind of means. So first of all, your first option is going to be yes, it meets the criteria for a hidden gem or hyperlocal spot. Of course, that's definitely a no-brainer. That's not what this is. The second one is yes, it's a public place of worship. Now, technically, that could be true, but unfortunately, it doesn't really fall within the guidelines because it is on private residential property. Now, the third option says no, it does not have safe pedestrian access, which is also technically true since it is on private property. It's not really safe for the public, and so essentially that option is correct, but it's not the best option there. And then we move on over to option number 4, which is no, it's on private residential property, and then option number 5 is no, it's not an interesting nomination for a way spot. So 5 again is also technically right, but 4 being no, it's on private residential property is the main thing here, guys. That is by far the best possible answer you could be picking. So when we compare all the options, yes, option 4, no, it's on private residential property is going to be your best choice, but it does not mean that option 5 or option 3 were technically wrong. They were technically right, but they just weren't the best option. So that is honestly the main thing that you have to keep in mind when you are taking this test, is that you're going to have to go through a selection of options, and one of them is going to be better than the rest, but it doesn't necessarily mean that all those options are technically wrong. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on over to question number 2, which is going to be, should Apex Pond be a way spot? Now, this one is going to give you 2 different options. The first one is going to be yes, it includes a man-made point of interest, for example, a signboard or a plaque, or no, it's a natural feature. Now, once again, guys, this really just goes back to understanding the criteria for way spots and stuff like that, which again, I have gone ahead and covered in my Niantic Wayfarer full in-depth tutorial. So this one definitely should be a pretty easy question, guys. It's no, it's a natural feature. For obvious reason, that goes against the criteria. Basically, you just can't take pictures of like landscapes and stuff and expect that to turn into a Pokestop. Now, moving onward to question number 3, it is going to be asking us, should Union Train Station be a way spot? Now we're going to go through 5 options once again. The first one being, yes, it meets the criteria for a hidden gem or hyper-local spot. 2, yes, it's a public park. Obviously, it's not a public park. 3, yes, it's a transit station. That's actually a pretty good option. 4, no, it does not have safe public pedestrian access. That's not true. Clearly, you can see it in the picture that it does. And then 5, no, it's not an interesting nomination for a waste spot. Now, once again, guys, this really goes back to understanding the criteria. This should be a pretty easy answer. It's a good picture right there, too. It does show that it is in the right spot as well, based on the location. And, well, you know it's not a hyper-local spot, and you know it's not a public park, and none of the other options seem like really good choices. And it's pretty obvious that it is a transit station, which if you guys have done your research and you've done your homework and you've watched the tutorial already, you know that transit stations are actually good candidates for waste spots. So once again, guys, it really does go back to understanding what you're doing and understanding the information and the criteria. If you do, this stuff should be pretty straightforward. Now moving onward to question number 4, it is going to ask us, should Tomball Fire Station be a waste spot? Now we get 2 different options here. We get first one being, yes, it meets the criteria for a location with a cool story, a place in history, or educational value. And then the second option being, no, nomination that obstruct emergency services do not meet the waste spot criteria. Now once again, guys, another easy answer right here, and that is going to be no, because it does obstruct emergency services. This is a fire station. This is an active fire station. You can tell by the pictures and you can tell by its location. If this was maybe like a fire station museum, that would be a different story, but it's not. It's an active fire station, which means, yeah, it's going to obstruct emergency services. So right there, easy no. Now for my question 5, it was basically the same exact thing, just, you know, should Fire Station 23 be a waste spot? You guys already know based on my last answer, it is going to be a no. There's really no difference here. Once again, the only thing that would maybe be different consideration would be if it was some sort of like museum, and that would be the only criteria that I could think of that would maybe, you know, make things a little bit more complicated. But in these scenarios, they're pretty straightforward to understand and they're good examples. So I got kind of lucky that question 4 and 5 were basically the same thing, and I actually think I had another question later on that was another fire station question. Moving on over to question number 6, which is going to be, should Human Sun Clock be a waste spot? Now, on the location, you can actually tell that this is going to be on school grounds. Now, if it is above high school education, basically meaning if it's like a college of some sort, that is actually okay. But if it's anything like high school, elementary school, middle school, daycare, etc., that is not going to be okay, and Pokestops or waste spots cannot be placed on those property grounds. Now, this is pretty clear that it is going to be on school grounds based on the location picture from Google Street View. When you guys are taking this test, it is really important that you look at the Street View and you can actually see where this stuff is. It is very obvious that it was going to be on school grounds, and you know, some people may or may not overlook that, and they might think it is a cool piece of art or unique architecture, because I mean, what we see in front of us isn't that weird. I mean, it is a little bit unique. I definitely don't see stuff like that too often, so it could fall under that category. But once again, guys, you have to look at the location. You have to be able to tell, hey, this is on school grounds, or hey, this is on a fire station, or hey, this is in some place that it really shouldn't be. And you know, you have to base your decision off that. If you're just like, oh hey, this is cool, but you know, you just completely forget where the location is, that could be a reason why you actually fail the reviewer test. Moving onward to question number 7. Should the flower clock be a waste spot? Our 2 options are going to be, yes, it meets the criteria for a cool piece of art or unique architecture, or 2, no, the location does not have pedestrian access. Now this one, it is actually really cool, and you can tell based on the location that it's not in a weird location. It does have good pedestrian access, and so the answer is going to be yes, it does meet the criteria for a cool piece of art or unique architecture, as you guys can easily see in the picture. Moving onward to question number 8, this was arguably the most difficult question I had on my reviewer test, and I definitely struggled with this one because it was really hard to tell. But I was able to use the supporting information that I had available to me and kind of made a decision based on that. So this question asks me, how would you rate the Citadel? 5 stars, nomination is a playground in a park or community gathering place, or 1 star, nomination is not interesting or visually unique. Now this is actually really tricky because if there were multiple playgrounds in that area, technically it's not really visually unique, right? Or it's not interesting because there's a bunch of playgrounds. And then 5 stars being the nomination is a playground in a park or community gathering place. Yeah, technically that is true. It is a playground, But the thing is, in the guidelines, it actually also mentions that people cannot really be in the photo, and you can clearly see a bunch of people in this picture. So it's really difficult because I actually would not give this a 5-star. I'd probably give it like a 3 or a 4-star, just given the picture quality. Also, you can't really tell the Citadel is the focus, and they could have definitely taken a better picture of this in my opinion. So it was rather difficult, but if you do look in the Google Street View, you can tell that it is actually in the right location and stuff like that. So it leans more towards it being a 5 stars rather than a 1-star. Like, I definitely don't think this is a 1-star candidate. So with that reasoning in mind, it was a little bit tricky to decide on this one because, I mean, I felt like it was going to be leaning more towards 5 stars, but I didn't really feel like it was a 5-star candidate. So I don't know. I guess if there was like a third option in there for like a 3-star, I would have felt more comfortable with that. But because it was just one or the other, I was like, all right, well, it seems more like a 5-star rather than a 1-star, and so that's what I went with. But this was definitely the most challenging question on my test personally. Question number 9 for me was actually a really easy one based on the picture that they provided. It asked me though, should sunset trees be a waste spot? Now, the 5 options it gave me were going to be yes, it meets the criteria for a hidden gem or hyper-local spot, definitely not. 2, yes, it's a public park, and based on the picture, you can't really tell. I mean, the picture is bad on its own, but it could have been a public park if you didn't look at the street view. Third option being no, it's a natural feature. Fourth option being no, it does not have safe public pedestrian access. And then 5, no, it's not a permanent display. So I went with no, it's a natural feature, basically because it's just a tree. You can't, just submit trees and expect those to turn into Pokestops. Pretty self-explanatory. Even if it was a public park, taking a picture of a tree really doesn't do that justice. You have to take a picture of a sign in order for like a Pokestop or a waste spot to actually get created or to get approved, I should say. So, I mean, even if it was a public park, the picture would definitely not go through. It is obviously taken from a car as well. So on top of that, it's just a terrible picture, and well, clearly you cannot submit trees. And then if you also go ahead and look at the street view, you can tell that it's in a parking lot. It's basically just at the end of a parking lot. So in my opinion, I thought this question was pretty easy, just given all the supporting evidence we did have in front of us. Now moving onward to our final question, it is going to be, should Lee County Emergency Operations Center be a waste spot? Now our 2 options were given. It's going to be yes, it meets the criteria for location with a cool story, a place in history, or educational value. And then our second option being, once again, no, it may interfere with the operations of secure/emergency operations. Now, if you take a look at the street view, guys, you can tell that that is going to be the case. Based on where the Pokestop or the waste spot would be, it really was not in a good location, and once again, it is going to interfere with emergency operations. It's even in the title of the waste spot. It says Lee County Emergency Operations Center, so that one's a pretty easy no. So as we mentioned with the fire stations earlier, guys, you cannot have anything that's going to interfere with emergency operations. Pretty straightforward. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah, that was my last question. Of course, I passed the reviewer test, guys. It really wasn't that difficult. I knew my stuff. And I think a lot of you guys may struggle with those questions, especially if you don't take this extremely seriously. Now, I understand everyone is really excited to review Pokestops, guys, but if you don't pass this test, you're gonna have to wait 30 days to retake it. And if you don't pass it a second time, well, then you can never retake it again. It's really not a difficult test overall. Obviously, you guys got to see firsthand what that was like, and I hope it does help you out in the future with your reviewer test if you did not pass this first time. I'm pretty confident if you guys watch my tutorial and you watch this video over again before you take your next test, I think you guys will do fine. Or even if you're taking the test for the first time, hopefully this allows you to sort of understand what is required and why it's important that you guys do take the time to learn how this process works. Once again, guys, I have said this so many times in this video, if you have not watched my in-depth tutorial on Niantic Wayfarer for the reviewer system, make sure to go watch that. There will be a link in the description below.
That's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below how you feel about the video. Is it a great video or a bad video? Did you get all your answers regarding how to pass the Niantic Wayfarer test? And if you still have any queries or questions, be sure to drop a comment in the comment section below, and I will be resolving all those issues and reading all those comments and make another further video related to the how to pass Niantic Wayfarer test in Hindi language if you aren't able to understand English language. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to smash the like button if you haven't yet, subscribe if you are new, and I will catch you guys in my next video. See you then. Bye.